These men will test you. Dangerous, manipulative, predatory men will put you through the ringer and push boundaries just to see how much that they can get away with and how much you are willing to tolerate.
Welcome to the Polished Paradigm, where we go over all things leveling up. Today we're talking about how men test and judge women and what exactly they do with that information. One thing we tend to do while trying to make the human connection is be vulnerable too soon. But you can't trust these men until they give you a reason to. Here are some of the ways men will test you to determine how they're going to treat you in a relationship. Stay tuned until the end, where I share the shocking way how a man tried testing me on my very own birthday.
Stop saying these things to men. I don't ask for much. I don't really ask for much. Stop. Because my thing is, first and foremost, what you're really trying to say is all these other women ask for all these things and all these other women have standards and requirements. But little old me, oh no, you can do whatever you want. I really don't ask for you to do much. You will tell a man you don't ask for much and he will give you nothing. At the end of the day, that is just your standard. Whatever you ask for is your standard. Whether it's communication, whether it's holding the door open for you, whether it's respecting you, that is your standard. Do not look at it as it not being much, or do not look at it as not being something that's that big. At the end of the day, that is your standard. So do not tell men you don't ask for much. Personally, I feel like it puts men psychologically in a state of, oh, I don't have to do much for this person, because they already told me they don't ask for much. So when that person doesn't do much for you, you're the one that already told them that. And then on the reverse, saying things such as, I have high standards. Baby, he don't care if you have high standards. At the end of the day, he's going to treat you how he's going to treat you. Now, it is important to have standards, but I personally feel like I have high standards, possibly not, but I will never tell a man that, because I feel like, going again back to psychology, at the end of the day, if he wants to treat you a certain way, he's going to treat you a certain way. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if he wants to be communicating with you, if he wants to respect you, if he wants to hold the door open for you, all these things that you want, then he's going to do that. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to tell somebody, oh, I have high standards. Now, sometimes you do have to tell people, hey, I like this, I like that. That's fine. That's your standard. But I don't feel like you have to say I have high standards, because then again, I feel like you're kind of comparing yourself to other women. Like, yeah, they require this, but no, I require that. At the end of the day, I don't got to tell a man to have high standards, because baby, after dealing with me, you're going to see how high these standards are.
It is damn near impossible to change how a man views you after you've already pigeonholed yourself into a certain type of woman. Rookie mistake number 1. You want to prove yourself to a man in hopes you can claim him as your boyfriend. In the beginning, you want to be the cool girl who brings him food, pay for things too, lets him go out with his boys more than he takes you out. You want to level up and not pay for nothing. Be wine and dined, have him checking in with you more often. Well, good luck with that. Better start over fresh with somebody else if that's the case, because you already set the standard in the beginning. That man doesn't even see you as the woman who even deserves any of that, because he saw what you are willing to put up with. He knows where you draw the line. And trust me, I'm telling you all of this as something I did myself, and that's why I preach these things so hard, because I know how it ends up, and we could prevent this from happening.
How do men test women? First of all, let me start by saying everybody tests people. Women test men, men test women. The truth of the matter is, testing is not always bad, because what they're doing, they're trying to find out information. You're trying to gather information that a person is necessarily not going to tell you. Also, men test women so that he can determine how to categorize her. Is she a jump off? Is she wifey material? Is she just a friend? So these tests are necessary to determine that. And again, women test men. So let me jump right into them. 5 tests that men do. Number 1, the sexual test. This sexual test is simply to see how fast he can sleep with you. And what does he do? He escalates it physically, maybe touching, maybe he sends dick pics, or maybe verbally wanting to see where you are. Number 2, the casual friend test. What he really wants to know is simply this: can I get the benefits of a girlfriend without having a girlfriend? And I'm telling you, people do it all the time. So what he does is he does things to see if they can sleep with you, if I can get money, if I can get you to take care of my kids or do things like that. Number 3, the family test. He introduces you to his friends, his family, people that he cares about. He wants to know simply that, do they approve? How do you interact with them? He's trying to figure out where you stand with them. The 4th one is the wifey material test. He's trying to decide if you are wife material. When he gives you this test, it often involves questions about kids, cooking. It's called future pacing. He's attempting to see if he can see you in his future. And number 5, the last one is the backbone test. Don't fail this test. He'll say things, maybe offensive things, maybe negging things. They call it negging when he's talking about you. But you have to put him in check. You've got to chin check his ass. You got to tell him, listen, that is not acceptable, because no man, well, not every man, most men don't want a woman that he can run over.
The last one is something you definitely can't mess up. The second a man tries to poke at you like that, or exploit your insecurities, or take things too far when messing around with you, you have to put that boundary up right then and there. Stop them in their tracks. He needs to know right away that you do not allow any form of bullying or putting you down. And if a man is like that in the first place, it's a big red flag. He either doesn't respect you, or he has the emotional maturity of a turnip. Boundaries are the biggest security you have when teaching someone how to treat you. Because you are teaching everyone you come in contact how to treat you with what you do and don't allow. Everyone in life is subconsciously testing you, not just men. Some opportunistic men are naturally boundary pushers because they want to squeeze the most out of you. They are just looking to use a woman, and you really have to look for the red flags.
The reason why men test you is for 2 reasons. 1, humans always need to test for weakness to see whether or not they're going to take advantage of you. That's how humans are. Just like a class tests the substitute teacher to see if they're a pushover, they usually test it to see whether or not they deserve respect. 2, because people, most likely you're sending signs of weakness, and so they test you to confirm it. They'll push your buttons, they'll pull away, they'll act distant to see whether or not you'll pursue. And if you pursue, you confirm to them that you're weak, and all of a sudden a person who might have been meek and nice and polite all of a sudden turns into a tyrant. That's why you should always display signs of power. Always be willing to walk away. Once you do that, you give them a deterrent. And that deterrent prevents people from manipulating you, prevents people from trying to play you.
5 things you should never tell a man up front. And number 5 thing that you need to be avoiding telling men up front is about your open wounds. You don't need to tell him about all your deepest, darkest insecurities, how you're insecure about your nose, or how you're insecure about your weight or your love handles, or you don't think you have the biggest dump truck. You have no idea who this guy is that you're dating. You're with a stranger. You have no idea if he's truly invested in you or not. You need to be very careful what information you give to him openly and freely, because he could be taking that information of your open wounds and your insecurities and saying, now I know how to trigger you. And it's not necessarily bad for you to discuss that with someone who's your partner, like your boyfriend or your husband. The problem is when you're discussing that with men who are strangers to you, that you have no idea what their actual intentions are or their motives are. You've given him valuable information to be able to emotionally control and manipulate you. Anytime you get into a situation where you start thinking about trauma dumping on him, one of your experiences, or telling him about every one of your insecurities, I want you to you zip it up and you go talk about your open wounds with your girlfriend or your mom or your sister, people that are going to love you unconditionally until you grow and learn that person and understand them better over the course of time. That is the only time you will begin sharing with them. The reason I say it's too much power is because sometimes you don't realize, it feels so good to yap. It feels so good to talk about myself. It feels so good to talk about my emotions and my feelings with a guy that I'm interested in. I understand that it does, but I also want you to be patient, and I want you to be ready to give that information to the person who proves you can trust them with that information. In the process of you yapping, you give men a lot of the keys to understand how to emotionally control you without even realizing it.
Never let your guard down for a man you just met. You do not know his intentions. After I got out of an abusive relationship, I made the mistake of telling the next guy all the bad things my ex had put me through. Well, the next guy was a covert narcissist, and I didn't know it yet. He had clearly disguised himself as an empath who was emotionally abused by his ex, and I thought we understood each other, and so I let my whole guard down around him. Now, as his true self started to unravel before me, I realized he was just collecting data on me and learning what I would put up with and what he could get away with. He disrespected me, blamed me for my traumas. If I asked him to stop yelling at his dog, he would say that it's not his fault that I'm triggered and that he isn't going to change who he is for me. He even hit his dog in front of me, and that was the last straw. It was just wild how sweet and caring he came off in the beginning. Narcissists can only fake their whole personality for a month or two, depending on how much time you spend with them. Then you just get what you get, and at that point, you need to get out. We need to start sharpening our manipulation radars and learn how to discern from a genuine, kind-hearted soul and a man who is just trying to weasel things out of you, all while faking his whole persona. I can sense a manipulation tactic from a mile away now.
These men will test you. Dangerous, manipulative, predatory men will put you through the ringer and push boundaries just to see how much that they can get away with and how much you are willing to tolerate. So you might be wondering, how exactly do these men test you? They test you in many ways, but in this context, we will be talking about financial tests. So for example, they will tell you that they forgot their wallet at home and that you should foot the bill. They won't even offer to reimburse you. It will take you on a cheap or low effort date such as coffee, ice cream, nature walks, whatever the case may be. Some may even impose for you to buy them things prior to meeting them. They do all of this to gauge if you are a good woman. However, being a good woman doesn't guarantee anything. Men cheat on good women every single day. They do not care. You need to prioritize yourself, your needs, your wants, your desires. When men test to see if you are a good woman, they're really testing to see if you are the type to put others before yourself, if you are the type to accept subpar treatment. You need to fail all of their tests, because when these men test you, there is no genuine or good intention behind it. They are really just trying to determine if you are one to be taken advantage of or not. Fail all of their tests, and if they have a problem with it, they can move along.
Story time. Okay, so a man once tried to use my birthday celebration to test me. We were officially dating for a couple months, and I went over to his place dressed to the nines in a brand new outfit, and I asked him, "So where are you taking me tonight?" His response, "Oh, I thought we'd stop by that karage place down the street for some wings." Girl, my mind sunk into my ass at that point. Karage, if you didn't know, is Asian fried chicken, by the way. And the place he was talking about is a counter-serve hole in the wall that he goes to on his lunch breaks at work, in the hood. I was waiting for him to tell me that he was joking. He said, "Oh, well, I thought it would be cool to see what the place is like at night." What? You mean that we'd be the only ones in there besides people high out their damn mind, and I'd be dressed like a damn princess where everyone is staring at me, wondering where the F I came from dressing like this, and I'd have to worry about getting gochujang sauce on my outfit? Of course, I made him take me to a swanky rooftop bar overlooking the city instead. But the fact that he thought he had the audacity to take me to fried chicken in the hood on my birthday just showed me how little he valued me and what he really thought about me. Needless to say, I ended it a week later. I also wanted to just add in here that he is not dumb nor ignorant. He knew that I was high maintenance as hell, and I'm used to dining out at the highest end establishments available. I've literally had a $400 12-course world-class dining experience before. I eat at all the best places, and I look like a damn trophy wife. This man was clearly trying to humble me on my birthday. My mistake for dating outside my league, a topic for another video. Well, anyways, that's all I have for you today. It was fun getting some of these cringe stories off my chest, but wishing you ladies well on your dating journey, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye for meow.